It's 6:30.
This meeting is being recorded.
FinCom meeting of October the 5th. I'd like to call that to order. Take a roll call. Bill?
Yep.
Zach?
Yep.
Rick?
Present.
Amy?
Here.
Michael Fury? Aaron?
Here.
Kevin? Paula?
Here.
Peter?
Here.
And Bonnie.
Here.
Thank you, guys. I just don't, I know the last meeting, Amy probably mentioned that we want to switch over to the town email. So if everyone can please confirm, I'll just go right down the roll again to make sure you were able to access it so we can switch over. If everyone can, all future communications will go through the town email. All right, so I'll just go quick. Bill?
Long answer is yes, I can get it on my phone. No, I can't get it on the computer of which I Zoom to. So I don't know. I don't know how to answer that otherwise.
Well, do you feel comfortable you'll be able to review and access information for our meetings?
No, because the work computer is the one that I get all this stuff on.
Okay. Zach?
Yeah, as of a few days ago, it was working.
Okay. Rick?
Yes, I can get the information.
Amy?
I am good.
Aaron?
Yeah, it should be fine.
Paula?
Yes, they just confirmed it is working. I have it.
Peter?
Yes, I'm fine.
And Bonnie?
I should know by the next meeting. I need to check it just to make sure it's working.
All right, so we can get to the next meeting. I don't know, Bill, if you can work with Charlene. If not, just let us know at that meeting on Wednesday. I'd like to switch this over as soon as possible, so we don't have information going out to 20 some odd emails every meeting. Okay. I don't know, Mike Eunice, has there been an agenda for the joint meeting proposed for next week on the 15th? Have we seen anything?
Not as of now, no.
Okay. With that said, so I just saw Kevin join. Kevin, are you here? Kevin?
Yes, I'm here.
And thank you. Michael, I'll turn it over to you. I know we have some material to go through tonight.
Okay. If we could continue reviewing and voting on articles. Article 9 is the article to authorize the use of unexpended balance of the water main project on Holmes and East Main Streets to be used for the water main project on East Main Street, and that's $191,250.
Hey, Mike, I was just curious on that. Do you know was it just that the bids were over what we thought they would be, or is it contingencies, or what's driving that balance? It's good, quick work.
On why there's money left over on that project?
Yes.
It just was completed in less time than they anticipated, so there was a savings.
Okay. I'm just trying to get at, as we go out to bid, this is the third water department article that they've had money in excess. I'm not complaining that they're completing their projects under, but I wonder if somewhat it's just overestimating the projects. I know that the fine balancing act that has to take place, but does anyone else have any questions regarding that article? Do we feel that we have enough information to vote on this article tonight? Okay, then I will entertain a motion
Mr. Chairman.
for the unexpected balances of, I guess there's two articles, right, Mike?
There is, yep,
So one is Holmes Street and then the other is Pine Street.
yes.
And the one we just talked about right now is for Home Street, correct?
Correct.
I'm looking for the dollar amount.
The dollar amount is 191, let me go back, $191,250.
Okay.
And that's the total, Mike, or is that just on Home Street?
That's what's remaining on that project that was approved in Article 9 in October 2018.
And that's. Okay. And that's strictly on the Home Street and East Main Street project, Mike?
Yes.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion if,
Mr. Chairman,
Amy,
I move we recommend Article 9 in the amount of $191,250.
Second,
I have a motion and a second for $191,250 unexpended expenses for the Home Street and East Main Street projects. Any other discussion, conversation? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. Bill?
yes.
Zach?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Amy?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Kevin?
Yes.
Paula?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Bonnie?
Yes.
And I am also a yes. That's unanimous.
And the next article, Article 10, is to authorize the expenditure of $820,400 from the monies that were appropriated for the project on Pine Street, which was Article 10, 2018.
Any conversation? If none, I will call for a motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Amy?
I move that we recommend Article 10 in the amount of $820,000.
Second,
Is it 820,400, Mike?
$820,400.
Oh, I'm sorry, $820,400.
Thanks, Amy.
second,
So I have a motion and a second for $820,400 for unexpended expenses on the Pine Street project. Any conversation or discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a motion. I'll call for a vote. Bill?
yes.
Zach?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Amy?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Kevin?
Yes.
Paula?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
And Bonnie?
Yes.
And I am also yes. It's unanimous.
And Article 11 would use $10,000 from free cash to be used for a household hazardous waste day.
Mike, I know we had the Board of Health person in a couple of weeks ago, and they gave us about a $10,000 expense. The one thing I didn't write down is, what's the utilization usually?
Actually, it's pretty good. You know, they do a good job promoting it, and it's, you know, it gives people a chance, all that stuff that they have stored up in their garage or basement, to get rid of it safely. There's usually a line the whole time.
Okay. All right, does anyone have any conversations on this article or discussion?
Mr. Chairman?
Aaron?
Yeah, just that I think this is a really good idea for the town and we should be supporting it. It does take a lot of, give a lot of people the opportunity to dispose of things safely that they would otherwise just kind of get frustrated with and end up jamming into their trash cans. So, you know, I understand it's $10,000. We'd love to not have to spend, but these are items that otherwise may end up at the dump or worst case in the woods. So it's worthwhile.
Thanks, Aaron. Mike, one last thing for me. What's the communication plan to the town? How do we reach out to everybody to maximize the participation? Is it just?
They'll put it on the digital sign. They'll do a Norton alert. And it will be posted on the website, obviously.
Okay. Any other conversation, discussion from the FinCon? Okay, hearing none, I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Amy,
I move that we recommend Article 11 in the amount of $10,000
and that's from cash?
Second,
from free cash, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Okay, thanks, Mike.
Bill, I heard a second?
yep,
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion or conversation? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. Bill?
yes,
Zach?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Amy?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Kevin?
Yes.
Paula?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Bonnie?
Yes.
And I'm also yes. That was also unanimous.
Article 12, the Water Bodies Management Plan. The selectmen did vote in favor of this the other night with $622,000 to be borrowed.
And Mike, what was the selectmen rationale on the borrowing? I know we've had conversations between borrowing versus putting in operating budgets. Can you just give a quick update?
The reason to borrow is that we know that if we have a commitment, we don't have to borrow it all at once, but we know we have the commitment there to borrow the money, and the expense each year will be $62,000 instead of hitting our budget with maybe $200,000 a year, which would be a big impact to the budget. This will spread it out, and as I said, with the money that we used previously, we were able to spread that out over a couple more years than we anticipated, and hopefully this will be the same. As I said, the engineers are being conservative because they don't want us to get cut short, but they want to prepare for a worst case scenario. And they do anticipate that it will get better as we go along, but this concern is to keep up with it, because if we stop, it's going to be more expensive.
And Mike, how long, we've had the same consultants on this project since the beginning of it, correct?
Say that one.
We've had the same consultants have been on this, overseeing this project since the beginning?
Yeah, ESS is our consulting engineer.
And then how often, I mean, obviously we haven't, but go out, put it out to bid?
What we would put out to bid is the treatments.
Yep.
Which is the major part of this, obviously. But there's only one or two companies in the whole area that do this type of work. So I'm not sure, there's not going to be that much competition to lower the price. It's a specialty and not a lot, there's not a huge amount of calling for it, obviously. And so there's only a couple companies that specialize and do this.
Right. And like, how much is their fee? Of the $622,000, what are we paying the consultants?
I can tell you. So, in the first year, trying to break it out, 15,000 is the engineering fee.
That's year one.
Yeah, that would be 2021.
And this borrowing gets treatments for how many years? Is it, I forgot, 3?
3 years.
Is it 15 across, or does it escalate?
So that is January to June 2021. So for July 2021 to June 2022, it's 30,000. So they do mapping in the fall, where they go out and look at the ponds and see how they've responded to the treatments. And then they do the permits and consulting, making sure that the company that's treating the pond does what we anticipate them to do.
Okay. Does anyone else have, Rick?
Just a question to Mike. Mike, are the reports given quarterly, yearly to Jennifer, or how does that get circled back to everyone?
Typically what they do is this time of year, they go back to the Conservation Commission and they report on the activity and what improvements there were over the past treatment season. And in the spring, or late winter, early spring, they come back for permitting for the new year. They give them an update on what they've determined is going to be needed for treatment, how much is going to be needed on each of the lakes.
Just follow up. Is there any reporting to the state?
Yes, especially on Lake Winnicott. They have to report to National Heritage any work that they do on Winnicott. All the permits have to be approved by National Heritage because that is a critical water body.
Amy, I think, Rick, are you good?
Yeah.
Amy?
Mike, last week when we talked about this article, we asked about if this is going to be an ongoing into infinity kind of expense. And we asked if you could talk to ESS about, at some point, are we going to be on like a $15,000 a year maintenance plan or something like that? Have you had any luck finding out if the ongoing expense is going to continue being this kind of $200,000-ish amount, or if at some point we're going to be able to get a much smaller number?
Yeah, they definitely anticipate a much smaller number. They're not sure what that'll be. As they said, like on Winnicott, they can't control what comes into Lake Winnicott from upstream, but they definitely do anticipate it going down. I don't know if anyone from the water bodies has anything else to add to that.
Oh, okay. And Mike, I know on the consulting fees, what are the permitting fees each year, roughly?
That's all included in what I told you. That's not broken out. So that includes all the permits, the consulting, the mapping, and the reporting.
Does anyone else on the FinCom have any questions, or does anyone from the parties commission want to speak to this article now, if they're on?
Mr. Chairman,
Who was that, Bill?
I think it was Bill and Zach.
Go ahead, Bill.
So, Mike, this is going to be a repeat from the past two times this has come up, where past two meetings of this session that this has come up, that, I'm one of maybe half this committee who was on the original presentation X number of years ago, where we were told then, after 3 years, things will get way cheaper. So I'm trying to figure out why they haven't gotten way cheaper now when we're 3 to 5 years into this. Because much to Amy's point, at this point it's 200,000 a year. It's been 200,000+ historically. That's not getting way cheaper. And the original presentation, so many years ago, said way cheaper. We should be in the way cheaper.
Yeah, I don't. Was someone else going to talk?
I think if you can answer Bill's question first, I think it was Zach, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Someone else has their hand raised. Oh, is that just Bill? Oh, are you on Twitter?
That was just me. Sorry.
Okay. You know, that they do anticipate that, but you know, we're still kind of at the beginning stages. It's been 3-4 years, so.
And go ahead, Zach.
Mr. Chairman, as I stated the last meeting, I'm going to oppose this. I mean, only because of the financing. We haven't paid the first time around. Now we're going to put more on the credit card. It's $1.5 million just about climbing with no end in sight. So I'm not in favor of it.
Okay, thank you. And Mike, I see the Board of Selectmen approved this as well. Did they have any input similar to what ours were regarding ongoing and have a lower cost X number of years and then reviewing the original plans that was, I guess, 3 years ago?
Yeah, I think there was some discussion on that, but then the discussion centered around the benefit to the town of having these clean water bodies and, you know, what it provides for recreation and, you know, what it does to provide for values of real estate in town, people knowing that this is something that the town has to offer.
And that's where I get stuck. We've gone on this task, it's worked so far. I hate to see the money, but the results are showing, and we do have a lot of water bodies that people are utilizing every day.
Mm-hmm.
Go around now to areas that were choked off probably 3 years ago that are being utilized. So, does anyone else on the FinCom have any questions for Mike regarding this article? Rick?
Yeah, I'll just follow up what I said last week. You know, I understand that what they're doing is showing results and results by people, you know, using the water bodies and obviously to become much cleaner. But, you know, is there something that they've got a plan, even though, you know, the further you go out, 5 years, 10 years, but maybe is there an end result where you start just doing harvesting and you get off the chemicals and then there's more dependence towards that type of treatment or maintenance? You know, I don't know if Mike can answer that, or probably it's a Jennifer question, but you know, just something like a report that would kind of get that light at the end of the tunnel type of summary.
They'll always be doing some hand harvesting, but not major. Like if you remember, the town previously bought a machine to go and what that ended up doing, it went through the lakes and it just spread everything around and made it worse. So there always will have to be chemical treatments. And the hope is that your hand harvesting will be limited as the treatments, you know, take care of some of this.
Mr. Chairman? Yeah, I just want to add again that for years, these water bodies were neglected. And for years, people wanted them to be usable. And that's why this whole process started. And it was something the town wanted for years. We finally had the agreement to go ahead and do it. So to stop now, after so many years of people wanting it, not having it, now that we have it, I don't want to take it away.
And Mr. Chairman, when I do get the report that goes to the conservation this fall, I'll make sure to send that to all the board members, everyone on the committee.
Thanks, Mike.
Mr. Chairman,
Amy?
I would just like to also add that we've already voted to authorize almost $30,000 for a water bodies master plan. So it seems like we're fairly committed to moving forward and helping people in town really be able to maximize what have now become clean and beautiful waterways in our area. So I also am in favor of moving forward with this.
Thanks, Amy. Any other conversation? Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Amy,
I move that we recommend Article 12 and authorize the borrowing of $622,380.
Second,
I have a motion and a second. Mike, I just want to confirm that that is Article 12.
It is Article 12, and it's $622,380.
So I have a motion and a second to borrow $622,380 for the water bodies management project. Any other discussion or conversation? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. Bill?
long-winded answer, sorry about that. But I'm not against the project. I'm not against clean water. But I'm not in favor of this, not knowing what the ongoing costs are. Because we're committing town dollars to an unknown amount in perpetuity, basically. So I think it's kind of our job to get those numbers a little more specific than to just have it open-ended forever. That's the only reason I'm against it.
Zach?
I will echo Bill's comments, no.
Rick?
Yes.
Amy?
Yes.
Michael Fiore? Well, mute, Mike. Mike Fiore, was that a yes?
Yes.
Michael. Hey, Aaron?
Yes.
Kevin?
Yes.
Paula?
Yes.
Peter?
No.
Bonnie?
Bonnie said she had to step away for a few minutes.
Oh, I didn't hear her.
She put it in the chat.
All right, and I am also a yes, but I really, Mike, when we talk to the consultants, I think you hear the concern with the committee that we don't want to keep spending and borrowing on this future of this project, so we want some escalation if we can to get to this project when we get on our maintenance level. Sorry about the voice tonight, guys. All right, so it was unanimous to approve the borrowing of $622,380 for the water bodies management plan.
Mr. Chairman, it was not unanimous.
It was
It was not unanimous.
Sorry. I had 3 opposed and 1 non-vote, so that's it's 7, 4, and 3 opposed, and 1 non-vote.
Okay,
Tyler,
got it.
Amy,
What? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
That
that,
sounded
I
correct.
think,
That
yeah,
sounded
that's
correct to
correct.
me.
go ahead.
3
7,
opposed,
7, 3.
1 non-voting,
Okay,
7 in favor.
thank you.
Next is Article 13. And so I think I explained this before, but let me just go over this again. Article 13 is for the bike trail. And the language at the top was originally voted in October 2019 that the Board of Selectmen was offered to acquire land and easements for recreational trail-related purposes in parcels of land abutting in or near, and it names the streets. And now the new language to be added is, it's amended, let's see. Now down the bottom, where you see a petition of the general court for a special act authorizing the foregoing transfer and use under Article 97, that part will be taken out. So there's a parcel of land down at the intersection of Crane and Plain Street that is controlled by the Conservation Commission under Article 97. And they've indicated that they want another piece of land from the town to be put in Article 97 if that land is going to be taken. That was going to be used for a small parking lot. And rather than hold this up and hold up the project, we're just going to pull that for now. And if we find a suitable piece that we can put into conservation, we'll go back to conservation later for that. But at this time, that portion of this will be taken out. So what this will allow is along what we're taking is the bike trail is going to go on the old railroad bed that is now under the control of the Mansfield, Foxborough, Norton Sewer District. And the concern of the attorneys is whether it was taken by Mansfield originally through bankruptcy court. And the question is, did the railroad ever actually own all the parcels along there, or did they just have rights to use it while it was being used as a railroad? So this would authorize the Board of Selectmen to take by eminent domain or easements wherever necessary for the rail trail along that right of way. And we do, at a previous meeting, the town meeting set aside $125,000 to go to any possible purchases or easement rights that had to be paid for. Not a lot of money, but there is a sewer main that runs through the whole parcel, so the parcels can't be worth much with a sewer main going through them, even if we find that these people actually still have rights to those parcels.
And like, if that 125 isn't enough to purchase any of the properties required, what happens to the project at that point?
We would have to come back to town meeting for more money. And some of this cost is going to be borne by the MFN also. So it should be reduced quite a bit.
And Mike, sorry, MFN is?
Mansfield, Foxborough, Norton Sewer District.
Okay. Any other questions for Mike from the FinCom?
I have one,
Rick?
Mr. Chairman. Mike, so this rail trail, eventually a bike trail gets connected to the Mansfield near the airport, correct?
Correct.
Okay, does it go down all the way to Essex Street? Does it cross over on North Washington and then connect down?
It'll go from the airport down to the Dahl property that is just on the north side of 495 on North Washington.
Yeah.
And it'll come out on North Washington right there. You'll have to go on the street to get up over the highway.
Yeah.
Then down Cobb and right back on again.
Okay, so where is it connecting from Mansfield? Is it connecting on North Washington or all the way down to Essex, or am I?
The town or the Preservation Society owns the piece of land, the Dahl property, that is just on the north side of 495 on North Washington.
Right, so, okay, yeah,
So
all right,
you-
I see.
Yeah, so you'll come,
I know
say
what you mean, yeah,
you'll cut through
There's
that
sign
property.
right,
Yeah,
okay.
and out back will be the trail that will head down towards the airport.
Yeah, there's a wooden sign there, it says, doesn't say property of or preservation or something, I think. Johnson, it's a Johnson?
Right. Yep, correct, community preserve. Oh, that's up further. That's up further on North Washington.
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay.
So Michael, Mike, the funding of this was done a couple of years ago. This is just giving now the authorization for the select board to go out and look at these properties and potentially take an action for them.
Right.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Michael Fiore?
Yeah, Mike, it was just, since that little strip of land in Crane Street was constructed, I haven't really seen or heard or anything else being added to it. What's the current status of the rail trail?
That strip on Crane Street was put in by the MFN. They paved that for us so they could get to their beds that they put in down there. I call them leach beds. I'm sure there's a more technical term. But the rest of the trail is in design stage. It's at about 75% design right now. And then it's due to be on the tip, hopefully in 2022.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions? All right, if no other questions, then I will ask for a motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Amy?
I move that we recommend Article 13, which is amending Article 9 of the town meeting held on October 21st, 2019.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve Article 13 as written, I guess it would be. All right. Any other discussion or conversation? Hearing none, I'll go to a vote. Bill?
Yes.
Zach?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Amy?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Kevin?
Yes.
Paula?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
And I am also a yes. That's unanimous.
Mr. Chairman,
Michael?
so if you want to continue on, Article 21 is the bylaw plan. And for the new members, this is employees of the town that aren't part of a union. These are the non-union employees. And what this plan is, a couple things. One is it changes the name for recreation to the Director of Parks and Recreation. And then the plan itself is amended for the next 3 years so that we've adjusted the salaries as we're going through 3-year contract negotiations with the union people. These are the suggested salary ranges for all the non-union people.
Mike, can you give the members kind of a quick high-level overview of what we do, what studies we look at to come up with these ranges? We just know that they're not arbitrary numbers that are picked.
So couple things. We take a survey of area towns and see what they're paying. And also we look at what the union contracts are getting so that there's parity. And then we look at what people are making now and figure out, over the next 3 years, any possible increases. So we make sure our ranges, they don't go outside the ranges during the 3 years, so we don't have to come back.
And Mike, on this, just two things. When was that position created? And the second part, it just seems unusual that the proposed the hiring level or the start level is increasing, but the high level is staying the same. It's going 1804 to 2250 current, and it's proposed 1914 to still the 2250.
Yeah, so I think one of the mistakes we always made was we never increased the low ranges for one, so to talk about that first, so that it becomes a fake number. Because you look at the low ranges and you look at what people are making in similar positions in other towns, and you're like, you're not going to get someone for that. Well, we raised the upper end, but we never raised the lower end. So that's why we raised the lower ends. And then, as I said, when we looked at what the person in the position is making now and put on it outside, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but just to make sure it stayed within the ranges, say 555 over the next 3 years. Not saying people are getting that, but just to make sure that the ranges outpace what people will actually get. Based on what the salary was now and what 555 would be, that held within the range.
Okay, and when was this position created for the director of parks that we hired?
Yeah, we've had a recreation position. It was called Coordinator of Parks and Recreation. We have had it for years, decades.
Okay. And right now, is there anybody bumping up against either the current high level?
At the current high level, 4 people could possibly outpace it.
This current year?
Not this current year, no. Probably by next year, though.
Okay. It's just one of those things I'm opposed to. As long as we have the studies to back up the rates or the proposed changes, I see this being used as a tool where we're just driving the ability for several people to get salary increases, if you will.
Mr. Chairman?
Rick?
Yeah, Mike, so I understand this is just a salary plan and kind of puts a pin on the map, and I think it's a good idea in the sense that it's always good. You never want to lose an employee or keep on cycling employees through, be the farm system, so to speak, to the town, 3 towns over, and I think you're trying to at least address that. But you mentioned these are all non-union, I think you mentioned, right?
Yes.
So help me out, or help, I'm trying to, again, wrap my head around, like when I see like longevity pay, other benefits, how does that tie into a non-union role or position?
I don't have the full salary plan in front of me, but it's online. There's, in the wage and salary plan, there is longevity established.
Okay. So is that standard in every town? And
Yes. Yeah, every town would have longevity, sick leave, buyback, vacation, all those, bereavement, personal days, all that is spelled out in the wage and salary plan.
so,
And none of that's changing.
so what differentiates a union position to something like a position here that we're looking at? Like, I mean, is there some sort of umbrella or something that makes it different?
Yeah, the Mass General Law establishes what positions would be considered wage and salary. And then as the unions organized over the years, they have positions that are in the union, and someone can't leave that union and become a wage and salary employee unless the union agrees.
Oh, they can't leave?
they can refuse to pay union dues, but the position itself, unless the union agrees through negotiations to eliminate the position, it stays in the union.
Okay, thank you.
Zach?
Just Mike, a couple things that just stick out, and I'm gonna look at just the high-end salaries here. You got a custodian that can make a maximum of $21.42. You have an outreach counselor that's $25.28, and then you have a director at $22.50. Does anybody else think that's a little? I don't know. You can give a director of anything for $22 an hour. Just my view. It just seems to be. I don't know how we came up with these numbers.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Zach.
No problem.
Because I know Steve brought that up. Let me look at that high end on that and get back to you on Wednesday, and we can vote on the plan.
Okay, just seems low to me. I mean, proportionate to, if I were to take one of these jobs, I'd rather be the janitor, to be honest with you. Less responsibility, same pay.
Well, I remember my daughter sending me an email one time because there was an article that the janitors in the courts were making more than the assistant DAs. She said, I knew I should have married the janitor instead of the assistant DA.
Just to follow up.
Yeah, let me look at that, Mr. Chairman, and we'll do it on Wednesday.
Thanks, Mike. And I think when does Board of Selectmen vote on this?
Tomorrow night,
Okay.
probably.
Perfect. Okay, thank you.
Just one last question, if I can, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, so when I look at the $22.50 or the $25.28, those are hourly rates. Do they participate in any overtime? Are they allowed? I mean, how does that work?
Hourly people could get overtime if the money's in the budget.
Or the circumstance?
Right now, we don't budget for it, so there is no ability to do that.
And does anyone have any other follow-ups? So I think what we'll do is we'll take our vote on Wednesday night after the Selectmen vote, and Mike can double check some of the numbers on the listing.
Mr. Chairman?
Bill?
Mike, how often do we revisit this? It seems like we do it pretty regularly.
I usually it's every 3 years unless we're adding a position or making some sort of change to the plan itself. But usually, as far as the salary plan, it's usually every 3 years.
And we were off 36% on the office administrator, going from 44 to 60,000 at the low end.
Yeah, that's the current plan. That's because we never raised the lower ends, I think, in the past.
Thank you.
Yep.
Just to reiterate one question, so that does not mean that you will boost that individual filling that position from a $44,000 position right up to 60.
No.
But it gives them a little leverage, saying they're being compensated below the minimum points.
Right. So you look at it for that, and like Rick said, because you don't want to be losing people, but you also look at it for the other way. If someone does leave and you got to bring someone in here, and this is your salary range, and it's too low, you're not going to get someone. You can't say, well, yeah, I got to go to town meeting first and make sure we can boost that salary up to a realistic range. So that's why we have to look at what other towns are getting.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Zach?
Mike, the only thing I would add also on this is, keep in mind, in 2 years' time, the minimum wage is $15 an hour. So some of these guys, like, janitor or outreach council, I don't think you're going to get anybody for those type of rates.
Yeah.
Personally, anybody that's, qualified anyway.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think we'll hold off on voting on this article till Wednesday. Mike, anything else?
Are you ready to go to OPEB?
Well, we might as well take it on, but I do notice that the selectmen have not voted on
No,
at all, right?
so you want to wait till Wednesday?
Well, I mean, we can kind of hear a preliminary, but I don't think we'll take a vote.
Okay, just what I was looking at, our plan had been to try and go up a little every year. So last year we're at 95,000. So I was proposing 100,000.
And again, I know I'm probably gonna open the floodgates here, but, we could use that 100,000 elsewhere, and I know we have the history, if you will, of funding this account over the years with a little bit of an increase. But I'm wondering what towns, obviously, this is an actuarial calculation that the state is not forcing towns to bring up to the minimum level, which would be unattainable. But with that said, does it make sense to even fund anything this year with the COVID and potential issues we're gonna have with the budget? I think this is one of those these numbers that a lot of towns will be looking at. I don't know if you've from other towns with the cash worries they have, if they're gonna do anything with OPEB at all. I don't know if you've heard anything from any other towns, Mike, regarding OPEB.
I will check and let you know on Wednesday.
All right, anyone else on OPEB?
Mr. Chairman,
Amy?
my question about OPEB is if we truly had an emergency, how hard is it to get the money out of here? Is this like borrowing against your 401k, or is this like taking money out of your money market?
So you could use it for some retirement expense. But other than that, you can't use it for anything else.
Okay, I guess I had thought we could use it as a backup to stabilization if we had some kind of an emergency. But if not, then I'm kind of thinking what Steve's thinking.
Yeah, I don't believe we can, Amy, but I will also report on that Wednesday. I'll talk with our advisors on OPEB and see what the restrictions are on taking it out.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Bill?
I know this is such a fun conversation every year, but again, if you're looking to borrow money and the bonding agencies see that you don't fund this account and you run the risk, and yes, it's a risk, it's not a definitive, you run the risk of ending up paying more when you go out to bond, do your borrowings. So, do the math there. If we're looking to do, $1 million projects, whether it's worth nickel and diming this account.
And Mr. Chairman,
Michael?
I just want to remind you that with what we've funded from free cash so far, plus this 100, if we included this 100,000, we'd still have over $2 million in free cash remaining.
Mr. Chairman?
Mike Fiore?
Yeah, hi, Mike. I know this is, in our situation, it's more or less symbolic, but if we were to be fully funded, what would that amount be? Do you have any idea? I know it's in the millions.
It's approximately 52 million.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Zach?
for some of us newbies here, what exactly is this?
Oh, I'm
Can I
sorry.
get the Reader's Digest version of what we're talking about here?
It's other post-employment benefits. So basically for us, it's the cost of retirees' health insurance. And the example I always give, say we were a company and we went bankrupt, we'd have a liability of $52 million for all our But that figures all our retirees, all our future retirees, the actuarials do a study. So it's all based on the health insurance stuff.
So you've been putting 100,000 a year into it? Is that? the
No,
process?
we started a lot lower and we've been going up 5,000 a year. And as I've said in the past, there's only one town in the Commonwealth that's fully funded OPEB, and that's Wellesley. And they had an override to do it.
And
So-
what is the balance in this account?
It's 596,607, and one of the pages in our packet, the third or fourth page, has the funding since FY12 and the current balance as of FY20.
So the goal is to build up the fund to a point where if you had to, you could use the interest to pay some of the retiree health costs.
Hey, we're 1% of the way there.
Well,
Mr. Chairman, so in other words, we want to continue to nickel and dime this fund with nickels and dimes, which is 100,000 as a dime.
yeah, at least it shows we can say we increased our OPEB funding this year over what we put in last year. So it's 5,000 more than last year.
Hey, for like 10 years in a row, we'll have increased every year, Mike. We're doing great.
It's good.
And they'll just keep, as long as the interest rates stay lower, the assumed value will keep going higher. Realistic or not, I don't know, but anyway, be an interesting year.
So can I ask just a outlandish question?
Sure.
So you say the debt or the commitment is what, 52 million?
Yes. At
So,
least at the last actuarial, it's being done again, I believe.
so is there something that would prohibit the retirees to participate more in that plan? To cut that number down to 30 million?
How would you cut it down?
I don't know. I mean, I'm just
I'm
wondering, is that
asking.
outlandish?
I'm asking, is that your question? How would you
Yeah.
cut that down?
Yeah.
The way to cut that down, you'd have to change, really, it's the percent of what the town covers for health insurance. So right now, the town covers employees and retirees pay 25% of the health insurance cost. So if you increase that to 50%, then that's how you'd save money.
So, yeah, okay, that's my question, and you answered it. Thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else? Okay, Mike?
Thank you.
And I think maybe just, are you ready to just mention anything on stabilization, or we gonna wait till Wednesday on that?
I would wait.
Okay, all right, thanks. All right, Michael, thank you very much. And I think the only thing else we have, I don't know, did everyone have a chance to review Bill's minutes from June 27th?
I did last week.
So are we
Thank you.
to vote?
I did. I did review them.
So let me just go through a roll and see if we're ready to vote. Bill? I know you wrote them.
He's mute.
Bill?
Taking himself off mute.
Yeah. Yeah, I was trying to find them. So yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. Zach?
I would abstain. I wasn't on the committee at that time.
That's all right. Okay. Rick?
Yes.
Amy?
I will abstain because I was not in attendance at this meeting.
Michael Fiore?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Kevin, I'm gonna skip over you for the same reason with Zach. Paula?
I'm trying to double check to see if I was in attendance at this meeting. If the minutes say that I was not.
You were not. It was an outdoor. It was an outdoor meeting.
Oh.
No.
Okay. No, I was not, so I'm abstaining.
And Peter?
Yes, I'm ready.
And Bonnie?
Bonnie was
Bonnie
also
wasn't.
not in attendance.
I guess I was not there.
Okay, and I wouldn't be here either, so, we have enough to vote. And we do.
Well, we have 5 of the 6 people that were there to vote.
Yep, so we'll go ahead and move.
I mean, it's the only people that can vote for it.
Yep. Did everyone of the 5 read the minutes? And can they vote? So we don't have to waste time right now going through the minutes. I know Bill sent them out in an email a couple weeks ago, I believe,
Yeah, last week,
last week.
before last week's meeting.
So
I did read them.
of those 5 people that were there, are you confident? Did you review the minutes so we can make a vote on this?
I am.
Yes, I am.
I am.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to vote the minutes of June 27th.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of 6/27 as written, 6/27 of 2020 as written. Any other conversation? I'll just go right down the roll. And for anyone abstaining, just abstain again. Bill?
Yes.
Back you want here, Rick?
Yes,
Amy?
I abstain.
Mike Fiore?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Paula, you would, Paula?
Abstain.
Peter?
Yes.
And Bonnie?
Abstain.
So that gives us 5 yeses to approve the minutes with 4 abstentions, including myself, for the minutes of June 27th of 20. 2 of the members weren't present, so that would be Zach and Kevin. So those minutes have been approved. June 27th, 2020 minutes have been approved as written. Any other items we'd like to address before I call for adjournment of the meeting? Okay, with that, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Peter, a second,
Second.
and Mike. So I have a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting. Any conversation? Hearing. Oh, Bill,
Yes.
Zach,
Yes.
Rick,
yes.
Amy,
Yes.
Mike Fiore,
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
Paula, Peter,
Yes.
Bonnie,
Yes.
and I'm also a yes, so that's unanimous. Thank you, guys, and we will meet again on Wednesday at 6:30.
Have a good evening.
Please.
Have a good night, everybody.
Everybody.
Good night.